Yesterday I said that I didn't agree with strike action in the fire service, but last evening firefighters all over this country exercised their right to do that with professionalism and dignity, which is the same dedication and courage that they use in support of our communities every day. What we saw a few firefighters do at Dagenham last night when they walked away from an incident in progress, I think was shameful, and they should be ashamed of that.
Just in terms of the chronology of what happened, Paul, their strike action, and they're going to repeat this again on Monday, was, if I'm right in saying, from 6:30 till around about 11 in the evening. The fire began at 3 p.m, so you could argue that they attended initially, got a sense of how bad or otherwise it was, fought the blaze whilst it most needed fighting, and then took the view that, according to pre-existing arrangements, no lives were at risk. They'd done a job to contain the fire and make sure no people were in imminent danger, and then were able to pull away. That's their version, at least.
Well, the arrangements for the recall to duty, there is a national framework agreement. That's then translated to a local agreement, and it specifically talks about a major incident being declared. All three emergency services in London that were in attendance at the Dagenham incident declared it a major incident during the afternoon. And so I think we were very surprised to see firefighters leaving that scene.
Paul, have you talked to commanders on the ground who presumably had a situation yesterday tea time when they were looking at a fire which was still, to some degree, in dire need of being managed, of being put out, but we're seeing firefighters walk off the job? I mean, have you talked to them about how they were left feeling by that?
Well, that isn't really for me. That's for the Commissioner to have that discussion. I haven't spoken to any of them directly, but I imagine that would be quite distressing, as it would, I think, for all firefighters. I don't know what the emotions were that led those firefighters to take that decision, but I think, as I said, it was quite shameful and ill-advised, and I hope that they're considering that, those events yesterday, and would not want to repeat that.
Yeah. Whether it was shameful or ill-advised is one thing. What it wasn't is a one-off. It'll be repeated again on Monday. How has thinking been informed by the events of yesterday? What should we think now about planned action for Monday?
Well, first of all, Colin, for clarity, we are not talking about people taking legitimate strike action being shameful. That's part of the law and it's their right. What we're talking about was firefighters walking away from an incident in progress, and a major incident at that. And I don't see that there's any need for that to be repeated. I think that there are protocols in place that are designed to protect from that very situation arising. As far as the strike action goes on Monday, the contingency arrangements are still in place. I do think that, as I've said before, that the contingency arrangements are no more than a safety net, and that they do provide only the minimum service, which can't in any way be thought of as normal service. And so we do look to the public to help us and support us by being much more careful around the home, much more alert, much more aware, and to drive a little more slowly.
Yeah. I suppose we can say with some confidence that for a firefighter to reject, in a sense, all their instincts and walk away from a fire must be evidence of sorts that they feel very strongly about this industrial disagreement.
I think they must feel very strongly, and they must have been very, very upset to have got to that position. And what I'm asking them is to be more reflective about the impact that has on their relationship with the public. And I think they're right to be concerned. There are huge changes to their pensions that they are facing, and they should have the opportunity to express that and discuss it properly and come to terms with the government that are imposing those changes. I do think that that's about discussion, and that's about both sides coming to terms. Not about strike action.